Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Cut to Cut. Today we are with the team of Bastar, the upcoming film on the Naxalite situation in India. Please welcome Vipul Shah, Adah and Sudipto Sen. What propelled you to the subject of Bastar? And have you all referenced real events for this film?
Yes. Every event in the film is inspired from a true event that has happened in Bastar between the time period of 2005-06 to 2011-12, maybe 13, maybe 13. But that's the time frame in which the whole film operates. And every event is true, like every event in Kerala story was true. The reason why we decided to make this film was the research material that he had shown me. We all are aware of the episode where 76 Jawans were martyred, which also has a very significant part in our film. And we also know that JNU celebrated that massacre. But in the research, there were so many elements which were not there, which nobody knows, and the country should know. For example, I read a report where a 4-month-old baby was hit with an iron rod on his head and killed. I saw another report where 8 babies were snatched from their mothers and thrown into the fire and burned alive. And then there were so many episodes of 52 Jawan being killed, 36 Jawan being martyred, 10 policemen martyred, 8 policemen. Relentless action, violence, mindless. The NHRC report says that in Kashmir from 1952 till now, 47,000 people have been killed. In Naxali violence in our country, in last 50 years, 55,000 people have been killed. So the number is much higher than even Kashmir. And these are people who are, getting killed by our own people. So we thought it was a very grave situation. And then there is another aspect to it, that these Naxalis don't want development to come to Bastar. They don't want roads to be made, they don't want schools to be built, they don't want hospitals to be made, nothing. Yes, it does, it suits their vested interests. And then there is another very dangerous element is in the cities which are left liberals, who are actually the powerful, intelligent minds who actually want to break the country. They want single party dictatorship.
And hence they brainwash the youth.
Of course, brainwashing the youth is part of their big agenda so that they can use our own youth against our own country. And Naxali in Bastar provide them the financial support that they need to run this operation, and this money, as Dada will tell you, goes right up to New York Times. So when I saw all of that, and then I felt compelled, like I felt compelled with Kerala story, that I have to take this story to people. I have to tell this story, and we will make it the same way we made Kerala story. We will be fearless, will be truthful, and will be bold.
So when you say fearless, truthful, bold, the subject matter that you've chosen is extremely volatile. It is a volatile subject, and I believe you all are still stuck with the censor board.
No. We got the censor certificate.
You've got it. So all these movies have these disclaimers in the beginning. So what kind of disclaimer are you giving? That you are openly saying that it's based on true events?
So the disclaimer part is something that is dictated by the Censor Board of India. So we always maintain that the film is inspired by true events, but the Censor Board tells us to put a particular disclaimer which is designed by their lawyers, and we don't have any option in to change it. So that is what it is.
We've always heard this, that art imitates life, and so a lot of cinema that deals with very difficult subjects, they kind of maintain this balance to not show the absolute horrors that happen on the real ground. Like if we talk about the Naxalite situation, there have been a few films, like you had Hazaro Khwaishein Aisi, which somewhat dealt with what was happening, but they kind of foiled it in a different way. Then you had Buddha in a traffic jam. They tried to show the urban angle to it. So when you are talking about the horrors from the reports that are so incriminating, the evidence is so incriminating, have you tried to balance it out so that the audience doesn't feel shell shocked by it?
The art which has the tendency of balancing, that is not art. If the moment the concept of balancing will come in you, you are a manipulator. You are doing politics rather than art.
आप बोल रहे हो कि जो left liberal art है वो
Absolutely hypocritic, absolute anti-human, and it is their agenda to keep you in dark about many realities. आप देखिए ना, in China is such big country of 150 crore people. How many name of the cities you know? 3, 4, 5. Do you know what is happening in other cities? You know North Korea. You will be told that 5 times you can smile. If you smile for the 6th time, you will be fined. So, any art form which has the tendency of balancing things, that is not art. Art has to be ruthless. Art has to be true to the life.
And I look at it slightly differently because I'm not going to get into the debate of art. I thought that this film is a mystery that has been kept hidden from our country. The suffering of millions of people of Bastar is kept hidden from our country.
With precision.
Yeah, with precision. And it's just not about Bastar. What they are doing in our country, the left liberals living in the cities and Naxalite, it's going to have a very bad effect on the country at some point of time if they succeed. And so it is very important to show white as white and black as black. There is no point of making a film which is going to dilute the reality and show them in a manipulated way, I would say.
I'm not saying manipulative, but you know that finesse, that artistically दिखाना, जैसे हजारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसे में दिखाया था, या
you are talking about the technique.
The technique. Yes.
Technique, you will find best of the techniques, best of the equipments being used, best camera we used, best action sequences we tried to create. We have used some of the best technicians to create our VFX. So we did not compromise on the technique. We did not compromise.
But the craft of writing the script has to be raw, bold and true.
Correct.
You cannot have a balancing act, because the moment you try and say, try and create a balance which is not true also, is going to confuse the audience that which side should I believe. Though there is enough representation of the other side in the film.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not that it just talks of one side. Yeah, but we are not trying to do politically correct film. We are not making a politically correct film. We are making a film which has got tremendous emotion, tremendous suffering of the people of Bastar.
So, Vipulji, you have come from you have a background of commercial cinema, mainstream. Your films have had this patriotic touch. So how did you make the switch? What propelled you to make these kind of films like Kerala Story and now Bastar, which your usual audience might say that वो तो mainstream बनाते थे, लेकिन अब देखो कैसे बना रहे हैं, ये ना थोड़े मतलब अजीब से topics लेकर बना रहे हैं.
I think there are two aspects to it. First is when I was connected to these subjects with the kind of detailed research Sudipto Dada had done. So when he came and he gave me the research material for both the films, and the story that he narrated, that this is roughly, in 5 minutes, when you hear the story and it moves you to your core.
As an Indian.
As an Indian, as an individual, then you know that you have to be connected to this film.
Do you feel that this provocation you felt also has to do with how the mahal of the country is धीरे धीरे changing? People are trying to understand क्या किया गया था उनके साथ manipulation mind में, and धीरे धीरे सब कुछ साफ हो रहा है. Do you think that is also one of the reasons that producers like you, big producers like you, are getting emboldened to take up these topics? पहले नहीं होता था ऐसे.
No, it was not the question of anything as far as I am concerned, because I'm pretty fearless in that sense. I take risk in my own way. I have always taken, but it's a coincidence that I have not met Dada before. If we would have met, say, 10 years back, we would have probably made Kerala Story then. It's about the story and the power that the story carries with it. Bastar or Kerala Story are so powerful that in any time span, if I would have got those stories, I would have made them. I have, even in my commercial film, there is always an element of patriotism or some social message for our country, because I am at heart a very patriotic Indian. So it's about the power of the material that you just feel connected to from the moment you hear. That is what drawn.
So a lot of jibes and accusations were thrown during Kerala Story. We've all finished that. It's all wrapped up. It's a big hit. It's a super hit, and we know that what was happening was the truth. Now I'll come to you, Sudipto da, but Adah, you are choosing scripts that might ostracize you in the industry. You might not be getting scripts from big mainstream producers and directors. Does it worry you?
No, I think after doing a film like Kerala Story, after it coming to me when Vipul Sir and Sudipto Sir could take anybody else in the entire industry, they decided to pick me. So then I believe, like, if I was chosen for that, which has now turned out to be the highest grossing female film of all time ever and made history, and it's done all these things, and I get love from so many people across the country. Now after all of that, if I feel sad about anything, I feel very ungrateful. And
so you don't, so both Kerala Story and now Bastar, these are very powerful female-centric roles, and it shows the plight. You were representing the plight of so many women. Now, generally in the Hindi film industry, if we've had female-centric roles, I can think of Dirty Picture, which it did quite well. Then there's Gangubai, for which Alia Bhatt won an award. Now, it was glorifying a certain kind of a woman. Now, but you are being selected for roles that are much more fierce and powerful. And then, we just have a super hit called Article 370, which again, shows a female character who is unapologetically patriotic, and she takes on the terrorists. So, do you feel that people will start talking about that Adah is only fit for these roles, and she chooses these roles because she's working in a camp that is doing these films to garner a certain kind of attention? Does it worry you? Does it?
Not at all, because the first thing you said to me when you met me was, I saw Sunflower Season 2 and I absolutely loved you in it. So when a beautiful, intelligent woman like you appreciates me doing comedy and me looking very sensual, being conniving, vampish almost, murderous, and doing those things, and it's a fictional thing, and
you
doing
were
comedy,
very funny, yeah.
Being allowed to do comedy for a woman also, I think, is a very big step. Not being part of the comedy where you're being the joke, but you're, making others. I think that's a very cool.
I think that the thing has to be broken, that a male lead, like आप लोगों ने male lead नहीं लिया है, आपने female lead लिया है. the importance of a male lead dheere dheere, do you see that coming down, and you know, that equality coming up in the industry with certain kind of filmmakers?
I feel that male hero will always be present and dominant. It's just that now people have realized that females can be equally important, and if females can be given the responsibility as much as, as much as you are giving it to a male actor. So now I think there is a level playing field being created for even girls, and we have some tremendous artists. We always had female actors, like whether you take Sridevi ji or Madhuri Dixit, or even all the earlier years, we have had some amazing female actresses who were so cool and they could carry any film on their shoulders. But there were not many films made. Now they are being made, and I think that should not take away anything from the male heroism. That should remain. But why should a female not be given that part? That sense is, I think, emerging, that females deserve to be given those parts. And I'm very happy about it that both our films have very strong female characters. And
even when we did Commando, I did Commando. So Commando is Commando, where there is a commando who's not me.
And I think the OTT space has widened the scope even more. Like if you watch the series Poacher, it has a very prominent female lead, which is played by Nimisha. And there are also male characters who are equally important. So it's like a teamwork. The teamwork that is happening is brilliant. Sudipto, I would like to ask you, you grew up in an area near Naxal, and you have grown up with family members talking about Marx and Sartre and Lenin. Tell us a little bit about your college life and how you were entrenched in this whole left liberalism that probably you had to shake off when you slowly started understanding this. And how strong is it still? Is it still that strong?
he crossed 25 and then he changed.
That magic number. He keeps talking about 25 साल के जब हो जाएंगे सब तब change हो जाएंगे.
There is a proverb na, that before 2025, if you are not a communist, then you don't have heart, and if you are still communist after 25, then you don't have head. So no, jokes apart, the thing is, as a Bengali, you also know that in our house, from childhood, we read Rabindranath Tagore, Sharat Chandra Chattopadhyay, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. In my house, we used to read Marx, Engels, Lenin, because of my siblings were part of this movement. But I was too young, so I was enthralled with the heroism. We used to see my sister coming back, revolutionary, like we used to wear Che Guevara's t-shirt. So my sister used to come in the middle of the night from the back door. They were being trained like climbing a 10-foot wall, jump from the other side, like that. This kind of things used to happen. So it was really heroic, but when we see the emergency being imposed, and we see the other side of it, the kind of police atrocities, kind of police torture, you must be knowing that there is a head count of almost like 15-20,000 brain drain happened. That best of the students of Presidency College, Jadavpur University, JNU, Delhi University, some of the biggest universities, they left India forever. So it was a mixed feeling, but I was never attracted with in politics. When I finished my school, that is, I passed class 10th, which is 1984, 84, yes. Immediately after my school, that Bhopal gas tragedy happened. So it was out of that adventurous spirit, we went to Bhopal to help them to set up medical camp. that is something changed me forever. Actually, I saw death with such proximity. It's such proximity. I saw children dying almost in my hand. So at a point of time, I was there for 17 days. I don't think I could manage to sleep an hour also in those 17 days. But when I come back, at a point of time, I used to think that I will not be able to come back. But when I came back, I was I was scared of death. I was always agonized that somebody should not be even cut by a mosquito. That used to pain me so much. It took a lot of time to ease out from my heart. But I decided to, to do something about it. So I studied, after physics, I studied psychology. Then I studied, and in psychology, Freud was my favorite subject. So that inculcated cinema in me. First thing I thought that I will make a film on the Maoist movement of this country, because it took toll so much in Bengal. Bengal was completely devastated. By the time it percolated to the other part of the country, Bengal was devastated. But it was not an easy subject. It has a genesis of 100 years. Sometime it played a huge role during the famines of Bengal. At a time, it gone against the interest of the country. So it was not a very easy job, but I kept on documenting all this with my friends and all. Then when I reached to that position that I can think of making a film, I started collecting documents. And eventually I got opportunity to make a small documentary on Bastar. It was funded by Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Bastar, the Frozen Tears was the name of that documentary. And that actually percolated the entire collection of my information and all into a form of a script. And from there, another part started, that I started thinking of making a feature film of large scale, so that I can actually get into the nerve of it, get inside the skin. And eventually I met Vipul ji, who indulged me to go ahead the way I wanted to make. As you said, he said that if it is a balancing script, I am not interested. The way you told the story, if somebody is cut into 32 pieces, you have to show it. We will show it the way it had happened. We will not do something like
monkey balancing.
Monkey balancing. So it is kind of a reverberation of my thought process. So
in the films that started, sort of, made the arena a little better for films like this, Kashmir Files, then you had Kerala Story, and then Article 370. All these films, when we talk about monkey balancing, none of these films are actually showing how the political nexus between these sociological problems. So does your film go into the politics of the Naxalite situation?
Politics is omnipresent. If you are talking about sufferings, if you're talking about people's sufferings, definitely it has a cause and effect. Yeah. The cause is obviously politics. No. Cause is obviously the policies of this country. Yes. And that has resulted to human suffering.
But our focus is always largely on the human tragedy.
The sociological
human tragedy, because ultimately at the end of the day, people don't endorse a film where it talks about the political failure. So as Dada said, it's omnipresent, but you don't get to see it at all in the film. You only get to see the human tragedy that people have suffered in Bastar.
So a lot of these films, what happens is they show human tragedies ho rahe hain, but there is always a tendency to hide the cause or go into the backstory. So the entire picture is very fuzzy. So the audience, what happens is they like, kitna kasht hai, लेकिन क्यों कष्ट है, किस रीजन से कष्ट है? Like we said, you just spoke about how the youngsters were being killed and butchered in Bengal, and then there were a slate of films that glorified the Naxalites and called them revolutionaries who were battling against the system to bring parity. So the left liberals might come back at you saying that but these were revolutionaries fighting the system, but at what cost? And what harm were they causing? So how does your film address both these narratives?
With the film very clearly sets the context how Naxal movement gained pace in Bastar. We speak about that. So it's not a one-sided account. But the problem is that when they came in and what they did after coming in, that is more important that for the kind of human tragedy they have caused in Bastar.
Holding people hostage.
Yes. So yes, we do talk about a situation that there was a terrible environment in Bastar for common people, and that's how they got a very easy entry into Bastar. Because people were looking for some kind of savior. Yeah. People thought of them as the savior, and they turned out to be the biggest tormentor, bigger than whatever they were suffering. So the suffering for people have actually gone up multifold. And that is where, and ultimately that design, if implied on the entire nation, it will break the nation into 30 pieces. So that entire context is there in the film.
So during the filming of Bastar, how many times did you all go into the nerve center of Bastar? Did you go? Did you interact with the people there?
I did go before we began shooting for the film. I did meet a lot of people there. I met IGs, I met, like I said, the CRPF women as well. Yeah, but when we shot, we had to shoot, Dada will tell you exactly where, but it was in the Maharashtra border, but we couldn't actually shoot in Bastar because having a whole huge unit of so many people is not, even when I went, I don't think they told anybody I was coming, and they secretly took me into places without, I mean, the people who were taking me knew, but they didn't announce that Adah Sharma is coming here and all. They said chupke se. Even when we went to Danteshwari Mandir, we just last minute decided we'd go there on that day, and we didn't give anyone any heads up, so I think we were safe. But if a whole unit's shooting there for so many days, I think people would find out. So,
Sudipto, that after Kerala Story, it's become a huge success, and you have Mr. Vipul Shah backing you because he feels convinced about these scripts. But what about other producers? Do you feel that other producers should also come?
You already have given the answer, because you said that there are very few producers in the industry. Otherwise, we would have not make this kind of film now, when India is at the verge of taking a plunge from a developing country to the developed country. There is a really dearth of courageous producers.
I think the camps, this camp system in the Hindi film industry is becoming even more obvious.
Those are the outsiders' vision. I am not getting into that part. Neither Vipulji belongs to any camp, nor Adah, nor me. The point is, to make this kind of films, you need a vision. And Bombay, not only Bombay, the entire Indian cinema has dearth of visionary producer. I am lucky that I got Vipul Shah.
Actually, the real problem is that nobody wants to change the status quo. It's a very comfortable situation. We're making cinema, we're making money, there's a lot of glamour. Why put our hand in the Pandora's box? Why open it?
And also take up subjects that might cause...
Yeah, and also most of the people are not even aware, and they don't want to even go into the research. But largely, people don't want to shake a steady boat. Their boats are steady, they are happy in what they are doing.
But what about the boredom that sets in? Like if one is really creative, and if one is really challenged by creativity and intellect, then different subjects को explore करना is a given. But do you think that the Hindi film industry is not doing that?
No, they're doing it within their own boundaries and limits. But, and maybe they are not getting bored by doing the same stuff again. It's not necessary. I don't want to make any judgment on how people feel about it. But I feel the need to find new subjects, new stories. And of course, particularly these two films are more like a duty than a project. I felt when I heard the subjects that if they have come to me and if I don't make them, I'll never forgive myself. This is for my nation. This is for my country. This is for our society. This is for us. This is for all of us. So I think these films have to be made with that mindset. It's not... Kerala Story did very well and we are blessed that it became a blockbuster. But that was not the idea when we started. That how much money we'll make, that was not the idea. The idea was that how can in my country girls are suffering and nobody's talking? How can so many girls' lives can be destroyed so easily?
Tell us
Nobody's
about
talking.
This complete. The media is silent, and this place in Bastar, this whole situation right in the heart of the country has been nicely wrapped up and kept away from the mainstream media, from a lot of youngsters. They know more about Western countries, what's happening in Western countries, what's happening in Gaza, Palestine, than what's happening in their own country. How carefully has the media done this over the years?
It's a extremely dangerous design if you look at it. And to not let this kind of a tragedy come out and inform the people of this country is actually, I feel that media has not done its part well. They have not done their duty well.
Especially, I think, the English media.
I think it's English or Hindi both. Whether it is press, whether it is radio, whether it's TV, whether it's internet, everywhere. And the left liberals very proudly say that there can be any government, but the system will be ours. And they have demonstrated it. They have demonstrated it with, the way they have hidden this tragedy from the whole nation for such a long time, for so many decades. So they are actually, whatever they have claimed about, government can be anybody's, but we will finally rule the country, is in many senses true. But now the nation has changed. It's changing very, very rapidly. And that is why these stories are not going to be hidden anymore. And there is enough and more aware and alert media now which is willing to talk about these films, these subjects. And that's why many more subjects like the films that you mentioned will keep coming out now and they'll keep changing the status quo.
Okay. You've made commercial cinema and then you've picked up these two subjects. When you go back to making your mainstream cinema with the Naach Gana and songs and all, do you think there will be a reaction in the audience? Then why is he going back to it? He after all has to make the money.
I feel that audience doesn't look at cinema from what my intention can be or while making a particular film. They look at the content and they feel whether it's worth their time or no. They don't care about if I make 5 more commercial films or no. As long as I'm making a good film, they'll come to see my film. If I made a bad film, then any subject or any kind of film, they are not going to be wasting their time and money on that film. And that is something that I have to be very, very careful about. That the content is the king and I have to try and make every film as best as we can. I think largely audience in a long term respects filmmakers who have tried different genres and variety of cinema rather than just doing one type of. They love to see new stuff. They love to see more interesting stories, variety of stories. So I am not worried. I think rather than the audience, I am worried about myself, that after making these two films, now when I start another film which is a commercial film, I will have to, you know, remold myself to go back into that world. And then if again we will find another subject and we'll make another film, I'll again have to remold. So that process is very, very dynamic and challenging for the makers to remold themselves. But that, I think that's what keeps us completely alive.
Sudipto, you know, you have grown up in Bengal, and you spoke about how the art narrative was captured by the left liberals. Now, when the art narrative was captured by the left liberals, it becomes difficult to break out of that and convince your audience that, you know, what they were showing you is not the entire truth. So what did you have to do or undo to you know, take this whole narrative out of their hands? Because there will still be people who will say, you know, ये ना सच नहीं दिखाया है, ये ना इसका और, because the art, aesthetics, the creative field, arts as a subject, the left liberal has a huge grip on it still.
No, they had they had the grip, because they never dealt with the truth. They always dealt with the lies. Now, whenever there is a fight between lie and truth always won the battle. It is not only in our country, wherever in the world this battle had happened, the truth was the victorious. So they had the grip. They had a stronghold on their subject till the Kerala story was come to the market. They put up a biggest resistance on Kerala story. Yeah. Country's biggest lawyer was in Supreme Court to prevent to stop our release. Yeah. If Indira Jaising and Abhishek Manu Singhvi stands for that, then you have to believe that they found their biggest enemy. Right? So, when they could not do that, they come up with their slenderest campaign against us. We are being called by names, but still it became the what was the term, sir? Unprecedented blockbuster of the history of Indian cinema. The closest one, which is as the highest grossing female centric film, it was just half of our revenue, right? So the country has given them the befitting reply. They took the side of the truth. So our analogy, our philosophy is very simple: stick to the truth. And you could see the silence. The silence before 3 days before the release of their biggest enemy, they did not got proper ammunitions to come against us.
So ये silence जो हम बोल रहे हैं, so you know, when you have a controversy like how it happened during Kerala story, it also generates a lot of interest in the audience कि देखना पड़ेगा. Now, Bastar did not have that kind of I will not say buzz, but I will say, you know, there was no name calling, there were no allegations that, you know, this is a hate campaign going on against the left liberals or, you know, the opposite party, whatever. Now, do you think that Bastar loses out because it didn't create that, generate that interest? You know, people, sometimes what happens is the audience gets hooked because there is some masala going on in the air, and they're like, ये देखना पड़ेगा क्योंकि इसके बारे में चर्चा हो रही है. चर्चा नहीं हो रही है, is it bad for the movie?
I think if our films are dependent only on controversy, then somewhere they are not on the right track. Our film should work on the merit of the story. And the most important part is that the change that we want to bring about with this film, the mindset that needs to start thinking, the whole nation needs to start thinking about Naxalism and the left liberal as a very big problem for our society. That thought process should start on its own. Yes, I do agree that when there is no controversy, then there is no buzz of that level. But at the end of the day, then you will not be called propaganda. After 2 years, nobody will talk about, oh, ye film chal gayi thi, so it was not about the truth, it was about the controversy. And hence, the subject of your film will be received in the way it should be received. And a real thought process will be given to your subject. So there can be a short time, a short-term loss because there is no controversy, but in the long run we would prefer that. We would want it. Yeah, we would want people to know the film for its merit and for the content that the film is talking about, rather than remember it, oh, this was a very, very controversial film. That's not what I want.
Producer, how are you? What are the plugs you're applying to market the film in the right circles and in the right way? What have you employed? Are you taking it? Are you going to universities? Are you going to colleges? Are you trying to interact with the youth to come and watch this film to understand this grave situation in the heart of the country?
So, social media today is a very powerful medium, and we've been doing lots of interviews and getting our messages across, whether on news channels, whether it's in print media, whether it's on social media. We've done lots of podcasts with a lot of people. But apart from that, now in next 3 days, we're going to be doing 35 shows across the country where we are inviting the youth to come and see the film and discuss and debate. And that's going to be the real thing, I feel, that when youth sees the film and people discuss it after seeing the film, is when you start getting the real momentum for the film like this. So, yeah, and so apart from all the regular means of, publicizing the film, this I think is a more innovative and more impactful way where we are going to try and reach out to the audience and then start the conversation, which then propels the film into a good word of mouth.
We spoke about how the red corridor has shrunk over time and now is restricted to only certain places. Yeah. So, but I have seen shows where Naxalites are still glorified. Like there was a Bengali show called Indubalar Bhater Hotel, which was on Hoichoi, and it became extremely popular. And there is an episode where a Naxalite was being sheltered by this lady and glorified, and they are not providing any backstory. So when we do have this situations of Sandesh Khali happening in Bengal and these shows are running, so how do you think the people of West Bengal continue being fooled or hoodwinked by the mainstream filmmakers?
This is technically called the conspiracy of silence. Last 50 years, people only heard them. Last 50 years, people only got into the trap laid by them. That is why Kerala story is so significant. First time they face the challenge. Whenever you are being challenged, whenever your lies are being caught, whenever your miscreants are being shown in the right light, then you become ruthless. You try to stop them. So they did. Now they understood that a situation will be not like the way they created for last 50-60 years. Having said that, last 75 years of this independence of this country, they very planfully captured the mind of Indian, an urban mind rather to say. And whatever you are seeing right now, the conspiracy of silence or living in denial,
That's the word, living in denial.
This is the exhibition, the web series you are talking about, the web series coming, the glorifying the Maoists, the Naxalites. But the way Kerala story has broken the nexus and created a new kind of ambience, this, we strongly believe Bastar, the Naxal story, will create similar situation. Now they will not be able to do such the way they were doing so far. They will face the resistance. That is the reason this film is so important, and that is the reason we are asking, telling, requesting every Indian to see the right faces of these miscreants, and the brigade, the Break India Brigade, which has been nurtured and been epicentered at Bastar, needs to be bring into the light and been told that what is happening. Yesterday we had a program, we organized a program on the occasion of the song launch, first song launch of our film. We got 20 martyrs' families from Bastar.
Okay.
They came, and all Shaheed of Indian security forces, their family member came, daughters, wife and all. And you won't believe, the journalists were sitting, 100+ journalists were sitting. Most of them were in moist ties. आप जर्नलिस्टों को कभी रोते हुए देखे? मैं तो नहीं देखा. So situation, definitely we are hopeful that only thing is you have to tell your neighbor to watch this film.
I think, yeah. Adah, you're taking up these roles. You just did, you tasted success with Kerala Story. Sunflower Season 2 came out and it was a very different kind of a role. You are doing Bastar, which is again a very powerful character. Nirja Mahadevan is an IPS officer. What about awards? You're not, means, do you feel that an award by the industry catapults you into the big league? Does that big league, attract you?
We are making movie for people. So people, I don't discriminate. For me, the industry, the outside of the industry, their sisters, the list that is the list that's the A-list made by somebody, I don't know, everybody for me is equal. All people of all species going to watch my movie. Whoever validates it, I'm very happy. If you're giving me awards for it, I'm very happy with the awards also. I don't know what translates into what league to get what movie. That I'm not sure yet. But I'm sure only the best is destined for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten the Kerala Story. Someone else would have gotten it. I would like to believe that. So, but yeah, every sort of validation. I love when people watch the movie, and our first validation for Kerala Story was those huge lines outside theatres. And then people, we didn't have hoardings or anything. We didn't have our promos running on TV. We had people holding hoardings, standing on the road, driving bikes with hoardings, people painting art of the film, doing rangoli of our posters, and also that's like the biggest award that you can ask anyone for. And like I said, any sort of, I don't know, any sort of...
I'll tell you honestly, we all know every single award is a fake. It's a TV.
आप बोल रही हैं industry में रह के.
I have stopped going to award functions for last 15 years. Even when my film or any artist or anybody gets nominated, I don't go.
Shefali ji also gets so many awards.
Yeah, so
She's such a brilliant actress.
Agreed, but I don't go. Once I went with her, and because she insisted that I go, and after that she only said, please don't come. So that is how it is. We all know, I've been on juries of the awards. I just wanted to know how awards are given. And so I was on the jury. So I know the inside story.
Would you like to share it with our audience?
I think it's a
known fact.
I mean, Amir Khan has made it very public. So many people have spoken about awards. So these awards, yes, 20 years after my career is over, I will say, oh, I won so many awards. That's like really great achievement in my career. But apart from that, today when I look at it, the standard of every single award has gone down.
And I think the biggest reward is the recognition the audience gives you.
So the point is that for Kerala Story, if you don't even nominate Adah, forget about giving award. Don't give award. But if you cannot nominate Adah, then it is very clear which side you belong to. We've spoken about that side enough on this interview itself. So this is the way it is.
So, carrying forward that thought, you don't belong to a filmy family as such, and we've heard you saying that you're an outsider. Did you face, did you get were you given the cold shoulder when you entered the industry? Did you get that stepmotherly treatment from people you wanted to work with, your co-stars? Like, did you?
Yeah, I guess, but you will treat your own child like your own child first, no? So if people are giving their own family, it's only but natural. Maybe if my mother or my father was a producer or a director, I would be the first.
Work because of that?
Yes.
So is there any name you want to work with? A co-star, director, producer?
Yeah, I have lots of people I want to work with. The list is endless. I want to work with everyone who has great roles for me. But if I had a wish list, say before Kerala Story, and I said I want this person, I would have got that movie. I didn't know who Sudipto Sir was then. I didn't know Vipul Shah is making a movie with him called The Kerala Story. It was his first movie. He would not be on that list because I didn't know him.
How did you choose Adah for Kerala Story? Like, how did you even get to...
Adah was not definitely the first choice. We were looking for, because Shalini Unnikrishnan is a Malayali character. So we were looking for a Malayali actress, then we should look for Tamil actress. But the script was so difficult to understand and accept by any actor of this age group that most of the cases, yes. So most of the cases, they were scared of even listen to the narration also. So when me and Vipul ji sat again, Vipul ji worked with Adah in his couple of films. So he said, Vipul ji is always a very democratic producer. He never imposed his opinion on me. He suggested that talk to her, take audition, see if she works for your script, and then the journey started. All become history then.
Sir, Red Corridor shrink ho raha hai, but while working there, what was your understanding? ये problem, ये Naxalite situation, ये Maoist का जो problem, ये कभी खत्म हो सकता है? Is the government doing anything in a consolidated way so that India is freed from this trouble forever?
See, it's shrinking, and in last 10 years, what we've understood is that in last 10 years, there is a lot of work that has happened to eradicate this problem from our country. Since it is their cash cow, there will be a tremendous pushback to somehow safeguard this particular bastion, and that is where the real challenge will be. But I am sure that the way government has decisively acted in Kashmir and almost ended the terror regime there, I think if there was any government which was capable of removing Naxalism from our country, then it is this government.
What are you working on? Like, what are your future projects like?
Very exciting ones, but I've realized with Kerala Story and Bastar, the most exciting thing is when you come with a trailer and then you tell people releasing in 10 days. I want to continue that.
But are they like, you know, the kind of roles that you have done in Kerala Story and Bastar, or are they different, commercial, fun?
Completely different, but commercial, fun, serious is also fun for me. Like Bastar was a lot of fun. It's very serious, very hard hitting, but for an actor, it's fun for me. It's a joy to be able to showcase my art. So.
Dada, what are you going to work on next?
Back to back within 10 months, we got to, according to you, hard-hitting films. So I deserve some rest. Yes. So there are something in some scripts in mind. We will think after the whole distribution phase is over. It's yet to be over. Another couple of months we have to work hard on the distribution.
You're from Bengal. There's this whole illegal immigrant situation in Bengal because of the border areas. Have you ever thought about doing something on that?
It is there in my mind.
It is.
I think I will do something in later part.
Okay, Vipulji, what are you working on?
I'm going to be doing a film called, tentatively titled Hisab. It's a film on a bank robbery.
Thank you so much for talking to us. We are going to congratulate you on your new journey, and hopefully you will taste an even bigger success with Bastar than Kerala Story. Thank you so much.